We, by chance, got hooked up as a tag team. I didn't like it because I didn't really understand tag team wrestling. But as Brian and I traveled together, we became very, very close.
I was trying to ask you about young, stunning Steve Austin against Stone Cold in a dream match.
Stunning Steve Austin wouldn't have standed a chance.
Oh,
he had somewhat of a technician. And I really, a lot of people do this to try to model their career after someone else. And I was trying to model my career at that time to Nature Boy Ric Flair, because I thought he was the greatest thing going, and the way he traveled all over the world defending the world championship. I was modeling my game after the Nature Boy, and there's never going to be another one of him.
No.
And I turned into Stone Cold due to some physical limitations, but I made limitations into assets and developed the attitude and the persona and the showbiz part of it, and the swagger and the attitude. Maybe I helped usher in attitude along with several other people.
Oh yeah, I mean, that attitude era was...
As great of an athlete as Stunning Steve was, the experience factor and the mean streak of Stone Cold, he would have crushed Stunning Steve.
Okay, all right, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Tell us I know we're not going to do a long piece on this, but I'm sure you miss your old friend Brian Pillman. Now his son is wrestling now, and yeah, I knew Brian very well too, and he was a hell of a character. When somebody mentions his name to you, what's the first thing you think about?
Cutting edge. He was one of those guys that was out there on, in front. He was a smaller guy, even going back to his high school, his football days, his college days, the few pro days that he had. Brian was a tough SOB, and he was a man's man. We, by chance, got hooked up as a tag team. I didn't like it because I didn't really understand tag team wrestling. But as Brian and I traveled together, we became very, very close.
I remember.
And he turned into be one of the best friends I had in the business. And I loved working as a tag with him. And we started off on a run that no one would have figured. Him and his bingo trunks, me and those stupid psychedelic trunks that I used to have.
I took pictures of that stuff.
And then we developed, the Hollywood Blondes thing, which was all his idea.
Yeah.
And so here was these two badass talents with a hell of a tag team, and they weren't even trying to give us a push. And we won the tag titles and started to get over, and they split us up. Had Flying Brian and Stunning Steve remain together for another 5 years. First of all, I wouldn't have had the Stone Cold career probably.
That's right.
But the Hollywood Blondes would have been in the conversation as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Sure. And I don't put us in that conversation now because we weren't together long enough. And that would be a complete disservice to all the dedicated tag teams that were out there that really specialize in tag team wrestling. So we're not in the conversation, but we could have been.
Okay. You mentioned Ric Flair at the end of August 2022. He's July 2022. He's making his final match. What's your reaction?
Well, it's going to be his final match, so I guess he's in the mood to have one more go and to prove he was the man. And I've said before, just in talking to you, I think he was the greatest, traveling world champion that there ever was. There's the reason he had the belt as many times as he did, because he was that damn good. Yeah, he lived the lifestyle on the road, just like to the nth degree, let's say. But for him to have his final match, I wish him nothing but the best. I hold him in the highest regard, and I have the highest respect for him. And I'm behind everything he does in the ring. So I'll look forward to seeing it. I wish I could be there in person. But again, I'm not traveling anywhere right now. But I wish him all the best, and I know it's going to turn out great, and I can't wait to watch it.
Okay, me too. Same thing. By the way, since you mentioned, there was another Nature Boy before him when I was growing up, Buddy Rogers, and I got a shock for you in my book here. In my book, which by the way I have to ask you, is wrestling fixed?
Well, I didn't know it was broken.
Thank you. In my book, I have something you didn't know, that the other Nature Boy was the first guy to do something before you did it. There he is giving me the bird in a restaurant in Florida.
Awesome.
That was before Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You know what, man? That guy, man, I've seen some old footage of him, not a whole lot because it was a ways back. But man, he was pretty much ahead of his time with respect to a lot of the high spots he did. So everybody I've ever talked to spoke so highly of the guy, and he was a bumping machine. And so he was one of the all-time greats. I wish I could see more of his work. But you know, going back to those days, for a guy like him at that time to be flying the middle fingers in the ring, taboo. Couldn't get away with it.
Oh yeah, no.
So the timing, yeah, you can mess around in a picture and do it, but you couldn't do it in the ring. So it just turns out that maybe the timing was right when I did it.
Yeah.
And they asked me not to do it, but I said no, I'm going to do it. They wanted me to come up with a whole different hand signal. Vince did specifically. And he goes, "Can you?" Because Diamond Dallas Page was given the diamond, right?
Yeah.
And everybody would go like that with him. He goes, "Can you come up with a different signal that everybody else could do?" I looked him dead in the eyes and said, "No." And I kept flying the middle fingers, and we kept climbing up. We started whipping their ass in the ratings, and we had a hell of a crew, and one thing led to another. But it's nice to see a picture of you and Buddy Rogers. He truly was one of the great ones.
Yeah, I grew up wanting to be him and Rocca and a bunch of other guys. And he never cursed or anything. You know, it was back in the day where you couldn't say anything. You were on TV, and he was also he was a gentleman, and he was absolutely terrific.